Good morning, brothers and sisters. I want to create future content that is more complex than just videos that I can make like this without any script, just based on my education and personal experience. I was asked in the comment section about how narcissist and psychopath, and I want to use this term interchangeably, So a malignant narcissist can be very similar to a psychopath, but there are you can distinguish them. The type 1 psychopath can have very high impulse control, has anxiety repression, is very detached of emotions, and showing what really goes behind the facade. While narcissists tend not to have this impulse control, the mask rather slips. They have the tantrums, they have times where they can't contain their negative emotions that well. But in general, for the normal use and for the understanding of what happened to you, you don't have to be able to distinguish that. And I would say the overt malignant narcissist is very similar to the psychopath. And when we understand the high-functioning psychopath on one side of the spectrum, and we understand the covert narcissist, the covert malignant narcissist on the other side, we have the whole spectrum of dangerous, dark personalities. One is the high-functioning one, where you can't see through the facade so easy with the superficial charm, and a highly strategic behavior, as well as goal-driven behavior on the psychopathic side, and also, the high impulse control, the function in society. And we have the victimhood mentality and the dysfunctionality, the weaponized dysfunctionality. So weaponized dysfunctionality is competitive victimhood. It means is a person that competes with real victims for their position, if necessary, and leverages this to be a victim over a long time. It becomes their identity. And this is a weaponization of dysfunction, but at the same time, they have a grandiose sense of self, so they want to be dysfunctional and functional at the same time. They want to be dysregulated and victims of circumstances and everybody and his mom, and at the same time be highly respected, even have unique rights, unique positions in society. So it's a huge contradiction, I would say. The construct of the narcissist is a brutal contradiction in itself, much more than the psychopath is. The psychopath is in some ways straightforward and surgically, not in this contagious way, all-pervasive. I won't say one of each is more or less dangerous than the other. That's not what I'm saying. It's about how we perceive them. And a psychopath is especially dangerous because their camouflage is much better, as I stated in the beginning of this video. So today, I told you I will answer to these questions. I will make videos where I describe what the targeted individuals of these dark personalities are, what targets do predatory parasites prefer. I called them in my language the enigma. Why do they target them? How do they use their traits against them? of course, by mirroring them on the surface and hiding the reality that there are parts in the personality of the psychopath and the narcissist that they simply cannot contain in themselves. Therefore, they need a person that provides them with this input that they then can competitively mirror, pretend to be that, have that as well, while at the same time destroying the originator of this trait that they would like to have. In other words, they reverse engineer the person that provides them with the original human trait, to get to a point in a timeline where the person that they use, the target, is as dysfunctional or as stripped of real human traits as they are. You need to understand a psychopath might be high functioning, but they're also living in a split world where of black and white, a detachment of real emotions. There are no real emotions. There are no genuine, intimate relations to people that matter, and they are willing to invest into this. No, it's not going to happen. So people are instruments that are on the way to reach the next goal of the psychopath. This is why discussions with a psychopath can be so draining, because the discussion will circle and go nowhere if it does not go in the favor of the psychopath, who is able to on the go break down a bigger goal in smaller sub-goals if necessary. So if they can swallow you in whole, they deconstruct smaller goals, and if you say yes to something, or if they trigger you emotionally, get you out of focus, and then overwhelm you with another strategy. Or I also described the other gaslighting strategy, where they start a topic that is connected to their goal, and then suddenly they become very tired and almost lose the focus on this entirely and sleep while talking almost. And then you become, because you're a goal-oriented person, also like you want to get through this uncomfortable talk to a person you don't even want to talk to, then you take the agenda for them because you now push it. And this is a switch, so the psychopath is able to implant their target to you if they bring it up, and then they abandon their own target, right? And then you have to push it through. So there are many ways. They can also, as I said, trigger your own narcissistic defenses, because everybody has that. Everybody has a sense of self, and we don't intuitively compete and compare with everybody. We don't want to compete or compare to other people. But when they trigger this, in other words, with a backhanded compliment, it feels like on the superficial text level, nobody sees that we have been offended or undermined, but the psychopath knows this coded language, how they trigger our defenses, get a strong reaction, or undermine our confidence. And then we are in this brain fog state, and then they come up with the next topic, and they also can shift our sense of perception by inverting that what we have said and bring it in a little bit of different context. They can implant false memories by mixing facts and fiction about the past or about things that we have said. All of this just to get slowly to their main goal that is broken down in small goals. So I just wanted to say, to put this out. And they do this by weaponizing our own positive traits, our naivety, our openness, our love, our sense for community, our communal sense, where we want to save other people, we want to save the whole thing, we see the whole picture. We carry the boats if other people let the boats fall down behind the scenes. So behind the scenes, they let go the boats, they neglect everything. and then you say, all right, I stand up, I'm the person doing the dirty work, and I don't even want recognition for this. They then harvest the recognition for this, they organize it, they are the organizers and managers of everything, and they take the recognition for it, but you do the dirty work for them. You carry the boats, and they know this, and they weaponize it against you. Also, they create artificial emergency situations around vulnerable targets like children, and then they present themselves as saviors, but in reality they just manage a lot of people who will jump into the breach, whether it's covert narcissists or authentic people, doesn't matter. They weaponize their callousness and detachment of emotions and their disability to take responsibility for their actions, to let people who have this ability and this kind of connection to life, that you just do it if it's necessary, but they are detached of that. So they weaponize it, the kind of connection to life of good people, right? And the moral implications. They weaponize moral as well, as we know, because they can generalize, moralize, and rationalize all their behaviors, all right? While there is no consistency, no backbone in this. They switch it. They switch their own identity all the time. When we talk about identity, this is a topic that I want to focus on in my future videos. I have a lot of visions about videos where I need a script and more preparation, but I will focus on the intertwined connection of narcissistic and psychopathic abuse regarding dopamine control, narrative control, and identity control. So there is a, and they do this with reactionary abuse. So what they do is they are masters at getting a reaction. The narcissist gets your reaction through not interacting with you, but with their introject of you, which is a fantasy of you. So the narcissist has a fantasy of you because he admires you, he loves you, he sees you as something he can never be, an idealized version of you that is even better than your real self, probably. And this is inside the mind of the narcissist. And he admires it, but immediately also starts to hate it. The narcissist cannot distinguish between pain and joy, love, envy, and hate. It's all the same. It's one package. It's one mud. It's one dirt. And therefore they love and hate you at the same time. And they get the malicious envy, which leads to the fact that they want to become you, and to become you, they need to get rid of you and then mirror you, okay? So this is a form of absorption. They want to absorb you and get rid of you by becoming you, all right? That's the narcissistic fantasy. And they trigger your emotional reactions by pursuing this goal based on a delusional fantasy, which is very disturbing when you witness this, of course. And also, as I told you, they don't have the impulse control of the detachment, the emotional detachment. They are fully invested in everything they say and believe, no matter how insane and clownish and ridiculous it is. The psychopath, however, has reality testing and is not pulling you necessarily in this malignant fantasy that the narcissist has, but the psychopath can provide you with a future fake, with a fantasy that is custom tailored for you, but it's not meant to go anywhere. It's meant to keep you at bay. But as soon as you have destroyed this, the psychopath starts to really gaslight you, second guess you, and can even use the narcissists acting out that you can resist via your stability. But when a psychopath weaponizes this and starts to kind of second guess your resistances against that, So they will help the malignant shared fantasy of the narcissist come close to you, or they can, in other ways, deconstruct your healthy sense of self by gaslighting and kind of reverse engineering you with psychotherapeutic attempts. It's like therapy, but therapy is aimed to heal you, while the therapy the psychopath gives you is aimed to destabilize you. So this is all done through, you have to understand, all of this, what I have said, can be translated into dopamine control. It means the narcissist and the psychopath are masters in these two different ways how they do it to get a reaction of you. The narcissist by being self-absorbed and acting, the psychopath by looking into your eyes all the time, gazing at you like a predator, reading your reactions and adjusting on the fly. They trigger, both of them trigger your own trauma, let it surface, and weaponize it in two different ways. They have their own ways to weaponize it and dysregulate you. This can be translated as dopamine control. So they train you and reward negative behavior, things that are bad for you, and reward things that are good for you. They also bait you with breadcrumbs. It means they give you a small release of dopamine, and in return you have to provide them with huge amounts of dopamine, and they train you to do this. They also try to put their sadomasochistic tendencies on you, but it's going too far now. You have to understand that this dopamine control is also connected to the hyper-competitiveness, which is in the beginning counterintuitive for you. You don't engage in that, but they force you to get into this competitive state also about dopamine. So if you do something good for you, good behavior, they don't like it. You do your wellness, you do your archery, you do whatever you love to do, which is good for you and also good for the community because you're the provider of everything, but they want to deconstruct it because they want to have your place, as I told you. It means they get envy of your self-providing, self-regulating dopamine, so they have to control it, which means they destroy your good habits and want to replace it with dependencies that they can control, okay? You need to understand dopamine control can be also translated into narrative control, because whoever controls the narrative to any peer group, to any private relationship you have, to the outside, no matter what level you talk of, or the just personal level, to the psychopath, who controls the narration, controls the memory, the present, and the reality. So you need to be very stubborn and reject all narration that comes from them and make your own narration. Therefore, I say we are the enigma. I will go further on this, and therefore I provide you with this Ariadne's thread that can help you to exit this maze of the Minotaur. So kind of the Minotaur is the covert narcissist hiding in a maze, and you are the enigma that is led into this maze where there is hard to find back out again to your authentic self. But to do this, I give you a narrative Ariadne's thread that is opposing the psychopath thread that wants to lead you deeper into this maze, so that you lose yourself and your identity can be mirrored and absorbed by these evil forces. Just kidding, right? And now you need to understand dopamine control can be translated or is deeply connected to narrative control. But all of this dopamine narration can be translated into identity. So these are deeply interconnected. In the future, I want to get into this further and bring certain family dynamics and archetypes into context. I don't want to spoiler too much right here. You need just to understand that you are, when you exit this abuse, you're like in the layers like an onion, or you're inside this maze, and you need Ariadne's thread. You need a narration to find back out again. And to do this, you need to understand dopamine control, you need to understand narrative control, and you need to understand your identity, your real identity that has been spoiled with through this entraining of these multiple gaslightings from these archetypes that try to deconstruct you to a level that you are comparable to them. And we don't want to become the monster that we fight, right? We don't want to get out of this maze as a Minotaurus, okay? So thank you for all my followers. Thank you for asking me very good questions and contributing with your own experiences. I'm looking forward to create new content, and I'm also curious about how everything will unfold, because the future is unknown and it's a journey. It's always a journey. Stay safe, and I wish you a good week. See you in the next video.